Okay, what's going on, everybody? My name is Caleb Smith, and today I will be teaching you all how to create a mixed media portrait using a combination of collage, spray paint, and acrylic paint. Okay, so the first thing you're going to want to do is pick up a frame. It could be any size. The one I chose is pretty small. Also, I'm going to get mine at Goodwill. You can find them there for pretty cheap. Just pop the back out there, and that is going to be your main surface you'll be doing the piece of artwork on. First thing you need is this adhesive. It's for wallpaper. You can get it at any sort of Lowe's. A paintbrush, X-Acto blade, and Bristol board for your stencils. And you can use some Elmer's spray adhesive if you want. So first things first, we're going to be creating the collage. The person I am creating this portrait for is my roommate Grace, and she's one of my good friends. So as I'm going through this book, I'm just kind of thinking about these books. I'm thinking about sort of what sort of things she likes to do, or hobbies, interests, things like that. So she likes to go on hikes and really likes nature a lot. So I am going to lay down a base from this awesome map book that I also discovered in I think it's Salvation Army. I'm going to combine this moon in the top with some flowers going on in the bottom. And what you're going to want to do is lay down a layer of the adhesive on the surface and then on the back of what you're adhering. Like so. Press it down, make sure you get all those bubbles out. And you're basically just going to be repeating this process for every single piece of paper you are putting down. So once it's all down on the surface, you want to cover it with a top coat and just make sure you get everything pretty saturated to let dry for a couple hours. Now I noticed there'll be a few bubbles. In this state it's not quite dry, but it's not that wet. You can actually, oops, I broke it off a little bit, but no big deal, because with this awesome wallpaper paste, just put it right back on there, you won't even notice. So yeah, what I'm doing here is just sort of lightly rubbing out some of these bubbles that are left. And that's just the background stage of the collage. So moving on to some finer details. Once again, making some selections, keeping in mind who Grace is as a person. Adding some more maps. I really like using this as a bottom layer. Another thing about Grace is she's a photo major, and it's another one of her passions. So basically with this collage, all I'm doing is combining her love of photography with that of nature. And next what I'm going to show you how to do is approaching the portrait. Okay, so what we're going to be doing now is making a stencil. And the first step to making stencils is simplifying your image into only a few colors. So normally what I like to do is make it, like if it's a color picture, I'll change it into black and white, but luckily this one is already black and white. So the website I like to use is called PicMonkey.com. It's sort of an alternative to things like Photoshop. I'm going to be upping the contrast a bit to really pop those bright lights and those really dark darks. And then in the effects, I like to go down to this one effect called posterize, and that's where it'll simplify the image into as many or as few colors as you want. You can also increase detail, lessen detail, things of that nature. I'll get somewhere in between. and bring the colors down anywhere between 2 and 5 is usually pretty good. Maybe bring the detail up a little bit more. So yeah, you basically want 3 different values to really pop. Alright, so I'll apply that and save it to my computer and then print, and we're good to go. But I actually don't have a printer at my house, so what we're gonna do is go up to Sheridan and print it there, and that's what I'll be doing the rest of the tutorial. Sheridan is the lovely arts building here at Kyoto University, and so yeah, let's head on over. Alright, so I printed off these pictures of Grace, and I need to transfer the images to Bristol board because it is a much more durable paper to make stencils out of. In order to do that, I'm going to be covering the back in graphite, and then once the back is totally covered, tape it down so it doesn't move anywhere, and just go over the areas you want to cut out with a pen. And it's like magic, the graphite just shows up and then you know exactly where to cut it out. Now this first layer I'm doing is just the most basic layer, and you'll see where that comes in during the spray process. So now I'm going in and cutting out the darks, and this is more detail. I like cutting out the darks first, and this whole time thinking about different color choices you might want to use. So next thing I'm cutting out are the whitest or brightest colors, tones. So now we're in the spray booth, and I'm putting down the basic color that I want her skin tone to be, and you know, experiment a little bit. Okay, so we're gonna jump ahead here, and what I did is I just took all these other stencils and laid them flat on top of each other. I did the darkest one first and then the highlights second. And what we're going to be doing now is going in on the background. So I have these pre-made geometric stencils that I can put down, but first thing I'm going to do is mask off the main area of the portrait. And you know, you don't want too much separation between the collage and the portrait, so we're going to create a little bit more middle ground here and really make it into one cohesive piece. And like I said before, just experiment with different color choices. Be careful not to go too heavy here because you want some of that collage to show through. Maybe try and stay a bit consistent with your colors so it makes sense, a bit of a theme. So mask off the portrait, and I like using these geometric patterns because it's just a nice way to sort of fill space, but you know, in a purposeful way. Plus, Grace loving nature, there's actually a lot of geometry in nature, so I just am reinforcing that within my stencils. Go out from a different angle, line it up, maybe add another color in the background. So now that we're done with all the spray paint section, this is where the true mixed media really shows up. She has blonde hair, and I really wasn't feeling the black and pink. So right now I'm just going into some acrylic paint, you know, giving her those golden locks that everyone knows her for. And that's what I love about mixed media. You can really experiment with, try many different mediums and ways of making art. And here are a few other examples that I have done in the past using the same exact process but applying it to different images. And there is the finished product. So once you're done, you can just pop it back in that frame. Thanks everyone for watching, and good luck with your own personal projects. You know, you can use this for many different types of art. You're only limited to your own creativity and how far you're willing to push an idea.